Item one, always the most, yeah, it's more or less the first question we get when we are running a project. What's the discount we can negotiate on Microsoft? And it's always a difficult question because it's really depending on the case. And that's not the answer our clients often would like to hear, but yeah, it's the reality. Today, we're gonna zoom in what has been changing in the past year when it comes to discounting. Because normally, when we are advising our clients and they are adapting the cloud in one way or another, whether it's partially or it's full to M365 E5, for instance, you see that it was very easy to negotiate a discount with it. But now we see a change in the market. We see a change when it comes to yeah, cloud adoption. So, for instance, in the country where Floris and I live in the Netherlands, we see a high percentage of cloud adoption, and that makes it very easy for Microsoft, yeah, to do a negotiation. And I'm going to now explain why. So let's take an average case. We had a client with an M365 E3 for everyone in their organization. And in the past 3 years, they were adopting the cloud very rapidly, almost used all functionality that is available in the suite. And in the end, there was not really a possibility for the client to move away from M365 E3. Not that it what should have, but it was very hard to do the negotiation. And why? Because they were using everything in their agreement. So that makes it a very tough negotiations, and you have to look for other ways to optimize your agreement and look for cost savings. Then again, having said that, for instance, we help a client in India, based in India, which has a different cloud adoption level. It's not as saturated as, for instance, the Dutch market, and it's very easy to yeah, negotiate high discounts. So, for instance, if we have a client that's based in Asia or in specific in India, usually it's very easy to negotiate high discounts. Clients are often not using all of the functionality, but the discount levels are higher. So, for instance, we've seen cases where, yeah, discounts of more than 30% were granted on M365 E3 and E5 without doing too much of an effort in your negotiations. So it really matters where your yeah, where your company is located and with who you are negotiating. So that was something we felt we should share with you. Also, if you have specific, yeah, questions about this, just let us know, or you can ask your questions in the chat, and Floris will let the questions flow to me. But we think it was good to share this with you because it's something that's a hot topic here in the Netherlands, reducing discounts. Moving on to the next slide. Again, yeah, for the saturated market, we feel you should pay another focus to the negotiation. You should be very aware that you will not probably get the discount you are aiming for in your negotiation with Microsoft, but therefore it's worthwhile to review your cloud adoption, to look if there is any possibility to profile your user count anymore. See if there are caps in your rollout. We've seen actually quite a lot of cases where clients were over licensed. Sometimes we have seen that users were granted with 2 M365 E3 or E5 subscriptions without any requirement for that. And that on its own, often that optimization, we've seen in all cases that can reduce your costs with 10 to 15%. Yeah, and preparation is key. So if you have done your homework, yeah, we've paid a lot of attention in that. Also in the negotiation clinic we've done recently, your preparation is key. So if you have done your homework, yeah, then you will probably go through a smoother negotiation. But again, if you are in the saturated market, it will be hard to negotiate a very high discount. So for the non-saturated markets, you should investigate your on-premise environment. Check if you can do business as usual by procuring cloud licenses. So if you are using still on-prem technology, but for instance, M360 E3 or E5 has a lot of on-premise license coverage in it. If that can be cheaper than using the on-prem license you have now in your enterprise agreement, you should really consider that as well. Again, that does require a very thorough research, so you should do that well considered. But it could be very beneficial if you are located in a market where the cloud is not adopted yet. Towards the future, the non-saturated market will be saturated as well, because it will be just a matter of time before the whole world will adopt the cloud, and it will probably change the way we negotiate with Microsoft. They are more or less becoming a market leader when it comes to the whole modern workplace technology. So you should do it very well considered, and also take a look at hybrid alternatives where you still have the possibility to move away from the whole cloud proposition. That's enough for this slide. We've seen cases where Microsoft always has an argument not to provide a discount. And what we've seen more and more the past year is this remark from Microsoft: no, we can't, it's not allowed by the business desk. So let me briefly touch on what the business desk is. The business desk is a non-revenue related sales organization within Microsoft that's behind the sales teams. And the sales teams often need to get their approval from the business desk when you are asking for an extraordinary concession from Microsoft. So when it comes to discount, the sales teams are equipped with a certain percentage of discount, but then if you are requesting things out of the ordinary, the business desk has to be involved. What we see now is more and more or less, no, we can't, the business desk will not allow it. But we know for a fact, because we were Microsoft employees, that's not always the truth they're going to share with you. It's a very easy argument for them to not give you the discount you are aiming for, to not giving you the concession you are aiming for. And having said that, when they are more or less hiding behind the business desk, we come to the second point. It's very, very, very nice to know what your escalation path is. It's actually the most powerful tool there is. Often the sales teams are not having the same interest as Microsoft sales management or the leaders behind the sales management. So it could be very beneficial to know the organization very well and have a map of their internal organizations, so you can escalate within the higher teams. We most recently experienced that in a negotiation with a client that was in a very painful situation where their license costs on one specific item in the enterprise agreement was exploding with 700%, and that need to be covered by Microsoft. Again, the sales team was hiding behind the business desk. And in the end, we involved senior management to briefly touch on that and get that thing resolved in benefit of the client. So, know your possibilities. The main answer always is no, it's not possible, but we really challenge you and Microsoft to think out of the box. It's a commercial sales organization, and sometimes there is more possible than you would anticipate. And of course, we can always mirror your expectations towards Microsoft. We can more or less check with everything if it's possible or not. So should you ever be in such a situation, don't be don't be hesitant to contact Flourish or me. No ask is too much. What I learned at Microsoft, is it possible? So in most cases, when we were working for Microsoft, the initial response was no. But we know for a fact that a lot of the things that clients were asking were possible if you had a very good business case to support it. And clients should be aware of this. So not only when it comes to discount, but also to other contractual amendments. There is far more possible than one would expect. So I think enough now for item 1. So we're going to move to the next item from the top 10.
We first have a question from Sukesh.
Okay. Oh yeah, good question, Sukesh. Yeah, very good. So yes, it helps you to negotiate the pandemic. There is actually an internal program within Microsoft that supports clients to with pandemic, with results of the pandemic. So we had last year we had a client that was struck by the COVID plague. It was a train company, and the train company reduced the train's schedule with, I think it was 80%, and therefore their revenue dropped like more than 90%. Microsoft has internal funds for that to support clients. We've heard about cases where clients were even waived their annual bill from Microsoft, and they had commercial momentum. So yes, you can benefit from that, and the pandemic will help you. It can help you. That's a better way of saying it, in your negotiation. So would you ever, should you ever consider that, please let us know, and we can provide you some tips and tricks to approach it for your specific situation.